Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. This video PowerPoint will be on the French and Indian War. First, we're going to look at the big picture. You've got two main essential questions. If you look at your I can statements at the very top, what relationships exist between the government and the people? In this PowerPoint, we're going to look not only at the conflict between the British and the French, but also the conflict that occurred between the colonists and the British government. The French and Indian War is going to be a big push that'll move the colonists toward independence. Another big question would be, why do people and nations fight over valuable land? Can this even be stopped? So something to think about. It's easy to point a finger and say, the French and the British fighting over land, not too interesting. But just think about how you relate to conflict, and how do you process and handle conflict? Do you fight over anything? So we'll kind of look at these questions as we go through. Okay, how did the British gain French territory in North America? By the mid-1700s, both Britain and France had claimed vast areas of land in North America, lands long settled by natives. Conflicts over land led to war, with the future of much of North America at stake. So if you look at the circled part, this is primarily the contested land. And this is called the Ohio River Valley. Again, right beneath Lake Erie and north of the Ohio River. France claimed the Ohio River Valley as part of its territory. The Virginia colony also claimed the land, and British settlers continued to move west. So again, who's to say who's going to judge between these two nations? You don't have any kind of sophisticated mapping. You don't have satellite technology. It's going to come down to who can win the fight. In 1753, the French began building forts in the Ohio River Valley to protect their claims. And again, this is to keep the British from moving into that land. The governor of Virginia sent a militia. A militia would be a group of volunteer citizen soldiers. And George Washington is going to lead them. And he's going to try to order the French out. So this is the first time that we hear about George Washington. At this point, he's a young lieutenant in the British Army, so he's not very widely known. And again, the French ignore Washington's warnings. The next year, Washington returned to the Ohio River Valley to find the French building a fort at a key location. Fort Duquesne. This is built where the Allegheny and Monongahela rivers meet to form the Ohio River. So think about the key placement of this. Most of Ohio at this time period would be approximately 90% wooded. So if you're going to come into an area, you're definitely going to use the river systems. And that's no surprise that the French are building a fort at this location. Washington built a small fort of his own, Fort Necessity, nearby. I'll show you a picture or two at the end of the PowerPoint. A large French army attacked, forcing Washington to surrender Fort Necessity. The French sent Washington home with the message that they would never give up the Ohio River Valley. So you might very well say Washington's first mission ended in a defeat. And this bothered him for some time. War with France seemed certain. Hoping to form an alliance against the French, the British called a meeting of colonial leaders and local Iroquois tribes in Albany, New York. The alliance failed. An alliance would be a grouping of people. It could be a grouping of colonies, of states, of countries, but it would be a group of people that have a common agenda. Again, the Iroquois refused to join a British alliance. Colonial leaders at the Albany Congress still try to work out a plan to defend themselves against the French. Ben Franklin urged the colonists to unite against the enemy. You can see an early American Revolutionary poster here. It's a rattlesnake. You can see where I'm circling here. You've got New England. You've got New York, New Jersey. Kind of just a variety of the different colonies trying to join together. If you look at the very back of the room, I have another version of that flag, and it's something similar. But again, it's a rattlesnake saying, "Don't touch me, I'll strike back." But Franklin, he's urging the colonists to unite. this will fail. Again, Franklin drew up a plan in which an elected council will have authority to act for all the colonies in urgent matters. It also could form armies and collect taxes to pay expenses. Again, the Albany Plan of Union was rejected by the colonial assemblies. Again, they didn't want to be taxed. They didn't want to have another colony to have any authority over them. This will be the case all the way up into the American Revolution, when all colonies will unite under the Declaration of Independence to fight the British. British victories in 1758 and 1759 set the stage for the key battle of the war, the Battle of Quebec. And again, you could see that New France claimed land to the north, and there's just a variety of battles. And again, Quebec was the capital of New France. Quebec was the capital, was located atop high cliffs. The British climbed the cliffs on an unguarded trail and captured the city. So again, without Quebec, France could no longer defend its territory. In 1763, Britain and France signed the Treaty of Paris, and this ended the war. Under the terms of the treaty, France lost its lands in North America. So this is huge. Again, if you look at the map here, again, you have the 13 original colonies, which I'm showing you. You've got the Spanish territory, and this currently is under Spanish control. But Britain, they gained everything where I'm showing you here. Again, everything that would be west, again, of this dividing line, or the Appalachian Mountains. So, England won big. This is a massive victory. You could say the English Empire, just tripled in size. All right, last but not least, here's a few pictures. This is about 5 years ago or so. Here's Fort Necessity. You might say, well, it's not very impressive. There's just a fence. You can see where I'm circling here. There's a couple earthen type of mounds. The British, what they did right where I'm showing you here, the British would hide behind the mound, fire out into the woods here, and the British and the natives were all hid in the woods. But it was just a matter of time before they would succumb to loss. This little dinky fort, again, you're hiding behind a mound. The French and the natives could just sit in the woods and just pick the British off. But again, not too totally impressive, but it still stands today. Kind of neat to see. And then here's me looking silly. You can put your face in a very different costume. But anyways, if you need to refer back to the PowerPoint, go ahead. Thanks for listening.